Yes. Thank you, Sean, for that. This is going to get recorded, but don't worry, no one's going to hear or see it. It's just for me and my team to kind of go back and talk things through for future events, things that we can work on and whatnot. So, uh, okay, here we go. Can you guys give me a thumbs up or put in the chat that you guys can see my screen? Okay. Ooh, no, it's, it's doing this funky thing. Give me a sec, guys.
You're muted.
Yes, I am aware. Sorry, I was talking to myself while I was trying to get this going. Okay. All right, guys. So again, thank you for coming this afternoon. For those of you who don't know me that have joined on this call, my name is Dory Sanborn. I am recently new to this company, but on the call, I have a few guest speakers who will be joining and chiming in later on throughout this presentation. We have Sean. He has the hat. Angela and Peter. So we'll go ahead. You guys will get to know them a little bit more throughout this presentation. But for now, we're going to just start off with me and my story and my why. So for those, again, who don't know me, I appreciate you folks jumping on. Everybody else, thank you again for coming on. Again, my name is Dory. I am 33 years old, and I am a person who goes above and beyond for everything that I do. Prior to jumping into something like this, I was one of those 9 to 5s. I had multiple jobs. At one point I had 4 jobs and I was going in and out crazy out of my head and trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do to make me happy, because working those 9 to 5s, multiple 9 to 5s, I wasn't too thrilled. I was exhausted. And I'm sure that those of you who have those types of jobs right now can relate. Um, you know, it's kudos to you guys who do, and there's nothing wrong with it. But for me, especially now, as you can see in my pictures, I have a baby daughter. She is 7 months old. My goal is to be 110% present in her life. And, when you have those normal 9 to 5 jobs, you don't have that luxury all the time. You have to request time off. You have to make sure it gets approved. You have to go through all these hoops just to get that approved. And it's not fun. To me, it's ridiculous because, your kids come first. And for me personally, I just wanted more financial freedom, more independent freedom so that I can spend time with my daughter and be with her every step of the way as she grows up. So, joining into something like this has helped me gain that type of lifestyle. And I can't stress how happier I am being involved with something like this. So, when we share down the line with the few slides that we have, listen in and figure out what works for you. If it does, great. If not, it's okay. But keep in mind that there's opportunities out there for everybody. So we're going to move over and we're going to shoot it over to Sean. He's going to open up and talk a little bit about our company. Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Dory. Appreciate it. And just want to say again, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for taking the time. It's really, really special, for all of you to be here today because as Angela was saying, there is a concept that we wanted to introduce to everybody here. And this concept is still in its infant stages. It's still not even in momentum, but already in just 1 year, it has exponentially gained just so much traction to the point now where things have already started to begun to churn in a sense of it's happening so fast that sometimes like I look at myself and I look at everything that's going on here and think, wow, this like it's hard for me to keep up. But one of the things that we are super excited to share with everybody here today is that this concept, I know for Dory, right, she is looking to really want to bring this concept here and a lot of our other partners that are on here today to the state of Hawaii. And it's still very, very new. Hawaii is very unexposed to this, but there already is a stir that has been created. And this concept here, as you guys can see on this slide, so it's a global wellness brand called PartnerCo. And this company actually is just under 2 years young. It's actually been through a couple of rebranding stages to get to this point that it is now. But I've actually been involved with this concept for the last 4 years when it was pretty much nothing. It was just an idea shared amongst a couple of individuals. And from that conversation has gone up to, in the 2 year time span, develop into a global entity that has gone around and truly helped impact hundreds of thousands of lives all across the world. So if we can shift over to the next slide. I want to go ahead and just explain and give a little bit of context behind what PartnerCo is and who is leading this charge. Because behind any company, any brand, you need to look at leadership. And what I'm so excited to present to you guys here with our leadership is the two gentlemen that you see on the slide. We have Darren Zobrist, who's in the blue shirt, and then we have John Wadsworth, who's in the black. And what I love so much about the tag team that is being presented here is that there's 25 years of business experience, both in a very unique sense coming together where you have Darren, who has gone out and built multiple companies to billion-dollar statuses and above. And then you have John, who in one company was the top sales distributor for the company and helping to build many, many successful business teams, all scaling to the point where those teams went out and generated billions and billions of dollars in sales. Now, why is that important? Is because think of it this way, those sales is translated to lives that were impacted. Okay. So it's safe to say that these two know exactly what they're talking about, especially when it comes to building and developing brands that aren't just going to be around for a couple months, maybe a year, a couple years. This is something that is looking to turn into a legacy established brand. And with that, they're seasoned, they're tested, but along with that, they also have very much experience in products that also have been tested to be tried and true. Now, if you look on this slide here, I'm going to let the accreditations speak for themselves. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. But why I'm so proud to share this particular slide is because obviously, if you haven't heard yet, if this is still new to you, or maybe it wasn't introduced yet to you, our company is in the health and wellness sector. So primarily in supplementation. And with that being said, supplements are in a non-regulated industry standard. So actually not even a standard. It's something where if you look at a lot of other supplement companies, what they put in their products, a lot of the times what's on the label, you're not going to actually find in the product themselves. And what I love so much is that the transparency level that we have here, I have never seen it in another brand. And those of you that know me know that I'm a very meticulous person. I'm very skeptical, especially when it comes to a health supplement that we are supposed to put in our body that's supposedly supposed to help our bodies thrive, be nourished, and just optimize itself so we can go out there and we can enjoy life to the absolute fullest, right? So kind of moving things forward, we're going to get into explaining some of the products to you guys, some of our flagship products. Maybe some of you have already seen it through the person's social media that invited you onto this call today, or maybe you heard about it. But with that, I'm going to throw this back over to our host, Dory, who's going to talk about a particular topic and then segue into some of these products. So Dory, back over to you.
Thanks, Sean. Before I jumpstart to the next slide, for everybody on this call, if you could go ahead and throw in the chat a 1 if you have heard about hormone imbalance. And if you didn't, it's okay. I see some ones coming in. Okay. So for those of you who chimed in or who haven't, it's okay. Hormonal imbalance basically occurs when the body produces too much or too little of certain hormones, which can lead to, various physical and emotional symptoms. So as you see on this slide, has anyone experienced any one of these symptoms in their life? Go ahead and throw it in the chat. Yeah, see, so know that, mood swings, headaches, all these types of symptoms of hormone imbalance, you're not alone. People have experiences of it, and there are ways to help better it. So, with that being said, we're going to move forward and we're going to talk about some ways to help you kind of balance these things out. And, we'll talk about that a little after. But I believe I'm going to shoot it back over to Sean. He's going to talk about one of the products that is really, really good for hormone imbalance. So give me 1 second. Sean, you are up.
Thanks, Tori. So the first product that I'm going to go ahead and talk about, actually, the product that I've been tasked to talk about today is something that I know a lot of you may have already seen. Some of you, maybe not. But these are hormone balancing drops, aka the skinny drops. That's another name that it's taken on. But as I say that, I don't want to emphasize the term skinny. I actually don't even know how that really came about. Weight loss is actually a byproduct of what this particular product has been created for. Essentially, off of what Joy said, balancing hormones is one of the leading causes right now in terms of people that are trying to kind of get their health back on track, whether it's trying to lose weight, trying to improve health metrics. A lot of the times they'll go through their protocols, but they'll struggle with actually getting themselves moving towards the goals that they're wanting to. Or let's say they even go to get checkups, right? Physicals and things like that, and maybe get blood work tested. And for whatever reason, sometimes it's hard to pinpoint what the exact cause is as to why a person is in a current state that they are. What I love so much about these drops is, well, before I continue to that, like, who here has struggled with, let's say, exercising, going to the gym, eating right? Drop me in the chat if that's been you. Okay, because that was me. I was somebody that always used to have an issue with trying to eat healthier, right? And trying to work out. And I used to try to bro science my way through working out and, doing that whole nine there. But it never kept me consistent because either I didn't like the exercising portion, I didn't like the routines, right? The things that I was trying to do, or I just didn't see it attainable for myself. I couldn't keep going with it, right? Let alone trying to eat a chicken and a broccoli type of diet, right? And cut so many things out. Like, it just wasn't sustainable. So I always struggled with my own fitness and my own health. And I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony on that a little bit later. But what I found is by taking these drops, when I first got introduced to this, number one, this was something that could fit into my lifestyle. It was simple. Okay. That's the one thing I want to highlight is simplicity, right? Because a lot of the times when things aren't simple to us, we don't even want to bat an eye towards it. We don't even want to waste time trying to figure things out if it's not, because it's hard to understand and it takes so much of our precious time. But this was something that was plug and play. I just had to follow the instructions, which is essentially just taking the drops and eating food. And it really helped rebalance my body. It also helped reshift my whole perspective on nutrition and how to really nourish myself in a way that would go out there and allow me to perform at a much better state, but not just performance, really feel better. So with that, I love that the drops, they're hormone free, they're gluten free, they're all natural, plant based, and they really help curb bad cravings, which is something that I also struggled with. So with that, this is our body balancing drops, but there's a couple of other products here that we just wanted to share with you guys today that are really leading a massive wave of impact right now. And we felt it was important enough to at least introduce these. We have many more products, that our brand offers. but I'm going to actually pass this over to another one of our partners who's going to talk about this next particular product. So, Angela, if you are there, I'm going to go ahead and put you up.
What up, guys? It is Aloha Saturday. I know it's a lot of information that you folks are taking in right now. So if you guys could do me a favor, I'm going to adjust this real quick so where you guys can see me. If you guys can just stand up real quick and just kind of stretch. I know it's a lot of information so far. Just kind of take it all in right now. But while you folks are doing that and taking your seat back down, this product that we have on here, if you can put one in the chat if you guys have ever heard of Tahitian noni or have seen noni before. Right on, right on. I mean, if you guys can think back to the stories Tutu, Grandpa, Grandma used to tell us, they always used to tell us take our noni. Since this has come back to us in such a different form, but still the same thing we used to take as children, it's created such an immune booster for myself. I am a walking testimony of the product, and so are my children. I'm a mom of four, so I need that best friend on the side of me to help me bring back that immune booster, that reliever to just kind of help me balance back out. Besides my drops, I partnered this with my drops and some of the other products that we have, but so much more. I can't leave the house without this. And we have it in a travel size pack that my kids take it and they take it on the go when they get to school in the morning. So when you guys think about this and you see a lot of the improvements or the benefits that it gives you in the chat, give me that one word type of feeling that this makes you feel. Does it make you think that you're going to feel energized? Because that's what it's meant to do. And it's also, it's just that best friend you can't go without that day. Right? Right on. I mean, these are anti-inflammatory, a major one. I mean, during this time, when I started to get introduced and I started to have it, before all of this, I actually had a major heart attack. And so this Tahitian noni has created such a stress reliever for me. I can't go without it. I take 2 shots a day for it. But again, we still have other products that we partner with. So I'm going to actually pass this over to a good brother Peter. He's going to let you know a little bit about Renew.
What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a good evening. Thank you again for hopping on this call on this evening of yours. But before I start, I want to kind of just ask you guys, how many of you guys have a hard time sleeping, or when you sleep a lot, you feel kind of tired? If that's you, put a 7 in the chat. If that's you. Or you feel like, you have a hard time sleeping, or you wake up and you're like, oh, like I'm still tired from all the long sleep. And what's super cool about this product, and I want to talk about it, it's called Renew. And I call it the magic sleeping potion. And why do I call it that? As a tennis coach myself, coaching 8 to 10 hours a day, I needed something to kind of better my sleep, better my energy when I wake up, and be able to run around with 7 and 8 year olds running around. So the cool part about this product that I'm really sharing is that it helps me with my sleep, it helps me with my energy. But the cool part is that, like, when you have better sleep and better energy when you wake up, it actually helps you actually recover faster. A lot of us are always working, always sitting, always standing, and everything like that. And the cool part of it is the cell restoration and everything like that. So that's the super cool part about this product and how this can help you, especially overnight when you sleep. In terms of the next slide that I have, a little bit about all my products that we share today. I actually use all three of them. And what did it do to help me out? About 4 years ago, I actually gained a lot of weight. It was actually right before COVID. I gained 70 pounds of COVID weight, relationship weight, and it took a toll on me, especially my knees. As a tennis coach myself and really coaching long hours and everything like that, and also running around with the kids, my knees slowly gave up. And I had a hard time walking upstairs. There was days that I climbed up upstairs, and that was kind of embarrassing and shameful of it. But going to the doctors with it, the doctors told me that, hey, like your knees are kind of burning out at the age of 22. You have pre-cholesterol, pre-diabetes, pre-hypertension, and that kind of threw a very curveball at me, being at 22. And so with that, not just that, but having friends that really care about you. There was actually a really good friend, actually mine, Sean Nakamoto. He actually told me I gained a lot of weight, especially as the tennis coach. That shouldn't be happening. Just doesn't make any sense. And so I decided to use the drops, really full on go at it, and actually lost 35 pounds in 40 days. And that's really what happened. And especially with the better sleep and everything like that, I'm able to recover a lot faster, especially after a long day at work, especially after a long day, being with kids and everything like that. So that's what it is. But not just me that have results. Actually, I'm going to pass the ball back to Angela, who has major results herself.
Ooh, that top picture is not a picture I'm proud of. Let me just say that. But you know what? The picture just itself tells my story. And so that top picture is in 360 view of what I used to look like. It speaks about how I used to feel. And as a parent, if you can put a two in the chat, an auntie and uncle, grandma and grandpa, how often do you guys run out of energy and it's not even spending time with the kids? It's cleaning the house, it's cooking dinner, it's doing simple things, it's running your 9 to 5 job or trying to find that side hustle. How many of you guys run out of energy too quickly that your body can't keep up with it? I see a lot of twos popping up. I myself, a little bit about me. I am born and raised here in Oahu, a Wamanalo girl, born and raised. I moved here to Kahalua to our permanent housing, but that picture right there is also in the shelter that me, my family of 6, were living at during this time when I first got introduced. And Brother Sean, thanks to him, with his coaching, we talk often, walking me through the process. Sorry, walking through the process of going through this. It was deemed before this that if I could not shed the weight, that they were going to put me on the Ozempic shots. They were going to try and have me find all these medical pills and things they could try and get me on. And so I refused. I like to go a natural way as best as possible because pills, shots were not meant to be put into human bodies. At least this is the way I was raised and taught. That picture is also 6 months after I had given birth to my son because I also had a heart attack during this time. And this is not something I'm happy about. We needed to do better. We needed something better because the way my story goes is my kids only have one mom. They only have one dad. And so we as parents need to step up and take care of ourselves. During the transition to our permanent housing, and I'm so glad that I had my community, my team, my tribe that I vibe with here, that in less than a month taking the drops, the Tahitian Noni and the Renew partner together, in less than a month, I lost 35 pounds. Something I could never have done by myself in less than a year. And I am super proud to be with this community. It just holds together. And as Hawaiian and Native Hawaiians, we look to that kind of things. As Polynesian people, we look to our community to not just uphold us, but to keep us going. They are our reason. They are our why we're stepping up to be the best of us. And so now I think we're moving this back over to Brother Sean.
Thanks a lot, Angela. Wow. Just going off of these testimonies, it just reminds me, puts me back in a place of where I was, before kind of getting involved with just taking these drops and just going on the journey that I have been. But just to kind of give a little bit of context on myself, because I know I didn't really, speak into it too much in the beginning, just so that we're not all complete strangers by the end of this call. Obviously, with myself, my name is Sean. For those of you that don't know me, or this is the first time you're seeing me, I guess you can say I'm kind of like the initial person that started this concept here in Hawaii with this group. And this started for me back when COVID hit, actually. This was just about 4 years ago. And I was in a really, really dark space. Right? Like, I don't know if those of you that can recall back to that time, and I know it's not a time that we want to relive, but when COVID happened that specific year, how many of us were kind of thrown back with all the changes and things that we had to adapt to? Drop me in the comments. Drop me in the chat. Okay. And this is kind of insane for me to go back and relive this because again, this was one of the darkest moments in my life, but there's a reason why I wanted to share this. Okay. So back then when COVID hit, obviously with my current situation, being a school teacher, right. And teaching tennis, coaching tennis, those are my careers, ever since moving out here in Hawaii. All of that reverted in seconds. When COVID happened, the lockdowns happened, everything pretty much got to a place where I got disconnected with all of the things that I was doing. I got reframed back to, really being secluded in my little tiny studio apartment. And with that, it just kind of allowed me to, actually, sorry, not even allow it. It put me in a really, really interesting space where I started to think a lot about where I was in my life and I wasn't happy, right? Because I started to look ahead and try to think, okay, what was the next steps for me? Because I was always so on the go with what I was doing. But when you get placed in seclusion just by yourself, I don't know if anybody else here is a thinker like me. If you're a thinker and your thoughts start going, you start to go in all different kinds of directions. That's exactly what happened here. Because of that, and it didn't go in the ways that I was expecting it to in terms of good or positive, it led me to binge eating, to cope with a lot of the things that I started to deal with, a lot of the negativity that started coming to my mind, which then led to a state of depression. And because of this, I actually gained about 30 pounds of quarantine weight, just not exercising, not moving, just eating, binge watching, and just really living in those thoughts. And it got to a place where I just couldn't see a way out. I couldn't see hope. And I just felt just completely shut down. It wasn't until I had a conversation with one of my really good friends. And I think that's one thing I can say about good friends. And I don't know if anybody else here can agree. Sometimes you'll know that you have a really, really solid friend when they say things to you that hurt, but you need to hear it, but you still don't want to hear it, right? It's like that true definition of tough love. And essentially, and going back to what Peter mentioned, I don't think I said he was fat, but essentially this person that I was talking to, he straight up called me out and he was like, dude, look like you're just really letting yourself go here. Right. And not just wanting to call it my appearance, but more so he knew that just mentally, there were a lot of things that were going on with me. And he said, hey, I'd like to open something up to you, an idea and a concept if you're open. And I said, okay, well, what do you got? He's like, well, I'm about to jump into this fitness challenge. And this may or may not be for you, but considering that you're looking to really build yourself out of the state that you're in, I think this could be something that can help aid you in the next phases of what you're going through and what you're wanting to accomplish, right? So I said, okay, let me get on these drops. Tell me what to do, right? So I ended up taking it, went on the drops, went on the program. Very simple. Essentially, like I said earlier, it's just taking the drops and eating. And it got to a place where in just about a month, I was able to lose the quarantine weight. But it's not just losing that weight. I actually was able to get back clarity. I was actually able to find purpose again in my life. And I was able to then step into an opportunity to take the concept, take the results that I personally went through and share it with other people to help create an impact to those that maybe were going through similar things that I was. And it led me 4 years later to now becoming what is considered an officer with this company. And it's not just about titles. It's not just about any of that. It's what this vehicle has allowed me to do. It's allowed me to build a business here where I've been able to go out and travel. I've been able to go out there and help connect with amazing people all around the world. And from that, be able to become a bridge for those that are looking for something different, which is essentially, I know Dory was mentioning this in the beginning. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. But maybe some of you that came onto this call today, maybe you were looking for an opportunity. Maybe you were coming into this 2025 year thinking to yourself, okay, last year was last year, but this year you want to make this year better, right? If those of you that are in this type of frame of mind right now, if you are like, okay, 2025, it needs to be different. Not you hope or want it to be different. It needs to be different. Drop 2025 in the chat. Okay, because what I'm about to share is some information that could help you, right? Really steer whatever goals that you are looking to have done this year for you. This could be some information that can help you along the way. So if we can move over to the next slide, I want to talk about next steps here. Okay. Some of you right now, I know again, It's been a lot of information that we threw at you, but for good reason, right? We wanted you to understand what it is that we represent. It's not just the product either. It's more so the concept behind this brand, right? But there's 3 different ways here. If you have never tried the product before, if you've never tried these drops, this is the first time that you're looking at it, the first option is we encourage you to be a customer. We encourage you to try the product for yourself to see what all the buzz is about. Because it's one thing to sit here and even listen to all the amazing testimonials that you heard today. And we have a full-on community of almost 10,000 plus people in this community that have all gone through amazing transformations. We have some of them on this call tonight. But it's one thing to hear it. Why not go experience it for yourself? We're so confident that the company even offers a 30-day money-back, no questions asked policy. But honestly, I can assure you this. Once you're in the community, once you actually go through the program and just incorporate the drops in your day-to-day routines, you will see results. As long as you follow it and you don't quit on yourself, right? It's like going to the gym. You're not going to see results in one day. You have to keep going. You got to stay committed to yourself and the process in order for you to actually get closer to where you want to be. And there's all different types of health goals on here. But again, think, this is not just for losing weight. This is so much more than that. All right. So that's the first option. The second option, if we can move over to the next slide. There we go. Awesome. Is who here likes free? Like who here would love to potentially, if you can learn how to get your set of drops paid for and free, who would be down for that? Drop free in the chat. If that sounds like, you know what? Okay, I want to give these drops a try, but if I can get these hooked up, sure. Like I would be open to learning how. If that's you, drop free in the chats. Okay, awesome. I see those coming in. There is a way that we can show you how to do this. Again, everything that we're talking to you guys about here, it's off of a system or systems, right? Something that, again, like I mentioned earlier, you can plug in and you can just play the whole thing through. And as long as you follow the guides, follow, okay, the mentorship that we give you, you will succeed in this, okay? So with those 2 things aside, there's one last way that I wanted to share. There's one last option here that I wanted to give to you guys today. Partner with us officially. Okay, maybe some of you came on this call today and yes, maybe initially you were presented with learning more about some products, right? Or wanting to gain some more insights on how you can make your health better. But what about overall your lifestyle? Okay. That's one thing that I love so much about what we do here with PartnerCo is we actually help people go out there and build towards creating a lifestyle by their own design, not one that is by default. Meaning, you know, you having to go somewhere, let's say like a job. Right now, I'm not going to before I start that train of thought, let me just say, I'm not here to rant on jobs. Jobs are essential. We need them. But I'm speaking to the individual right now that might be looking for more, okay? Might be looking for a way to not only bring in more money, more income, right? Obviously, we're talking about betting our health here. That's a given. But maybe you also wanted to put more time back in your life, right? I know we have some mamas on this call. You know, we have some dads on here, right? We have some bachelors on this call, you know, like we have all different types of people on this call. But with that being said, think if time and money weren't an issue for you, how would you envision your life? And I know that might be a loaded question, but it wasn't until that was asked to me where I actually kind of took a step back and I started to think about that for a second. I was like, you know what? I've never been asked this before, or I've never really given myself time to really think about that, right? Think back to when you were a kid and how free thoughts would come to your mind, right? Remember the question was, if you can recall, remember when we were asked when we were kids, like, what do you want to be? And we would say whatever we said, right? I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be whatever that it was. But remember the joy, you know, that you felt, if you can, right? The feeling of saying it so freely. Think now, as I know a lot of us here, like we're in so many different stages of life, but as an adult, that tends to diminish a little bit, right? Because then we have to do something called adulting, right? We got to pay bills. We got to provide, right? And all these things start coming up. But what if what we were doing beforehand, okay, wasn't enough? right? Do you want to keep going that way? Well, I'm excited because we also have something that we are unveiling. We have a blueprint that is specifically helping so many people right now take charge of their life again, to really put back again the essence of time. So you can go out there and spend more of that time that you're spending right now doing all these things that maybe you don't necessarily want to do, but you have to do because you need to provide. But what if there's a different way to do it? We're teaching that right now, and we're launching that blueprint this year, full on. We spent all of last year piloting this, and I'm so, so excited to bring this here, especially to the state of Hawaii, because again, like I said earlier, it is so, so new. Like Hawaii is just now starting to get a little bit more insight on this, but we're really wanting to take it one step further and launch it to all the communities, as many as possible. So if we can transition to the next slide. Some of you might be thinking, okay, can I really make money here? Right? Can I really build a business off of just talking about these drops or Renew or Noni? It's so much more than just selling. Okay. Like if that's what you're thinking right now, I want to encourage you to please try to remove that thought out of the forefront because it's so much more. The blueprint that I mentioned earlier. Okay. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but if this is something that you are wanting to learn more about, okay, the concepts are very simple here. I'm just going to go over a couple of them. There's a way that we show people how to attract customers to you. In business, you need to have customers, right? Period. But not in a way where you have to go out there. If some of you are thinking, well, is this one of those things where I have to go out and beg my friends and family? No. If there was a way that we can show you how to build a brand where you can have people coming to you to ask you questions, right? On what it is that you do, what it is that you offer, would that be something that you would want to learn, right? Something that you can do anywhere at any time and even through your own social media. Okay. Because I know a lot of us here have social medias, but outside of just posting life updates and things like that, what if there was a way you can turn your social media platforms into a beacon that can help impact lives all around the world? Would that be a thought? Would that be something that you'd be open to learning more about? Okay. And then from there, it's not just about just getting customers, right? We teach you how to build teams to help build with you, right? Because you enter this business for yourself, but you don't do it by yourself, which is what I love so much about the community that Angela was talking about earlier, right? That we have here. And then from that point, you duplicate that process and you scale it. And we show you how to do it, right? So again, I'm going to leave those thoughts there for you. And if you are wanting to learn more about this or ask more questions about this, we're going to have a portion after this call. I'm going to have Dory kind of chime in on that at the very end. But let's move on to the next slide here. Okay. After hearing all of this, and again, I appreciate everybody for bearing with me to go through all that information. You're going to be one of the following. You're going to be an A, B, or a C category. Okay. If you are a A, you're like, okay, you know what? Awesome. Customer sounds great. I'd love to try the product and go through a transformation myself. Great. Let's help you get started with your health journey and also your experience with that. If you are a B, maybe you're somebody that's like, you know what? Like, not just for myself, but you can already think about a couple of people that could benefit from this, right? And you also want to learn how to help get your set of jobs paid for. If that's you, great. Connect with us as well, and we'll show you how to go ahead and start that process. Now, let's say you're somebody that's a C. You're somebody that came on this call today looking for something more than just a health transformation, but also now hearing what you've heard, maybe you're starting to think, you know what? I kind of want to reshift my life right now and take it to the next level, right? Instead of just settling or contemplating where everybody's at right now. And again, you might be in a great space already. That's awesome. Can we make that better though? Right? If that's you, you're like, okay, let me learn about these systems. Let me learn how to build into a lot of these other concepts that you talked about. I mean, again, I know we didn't really talk about it too much, but I know at the beginning of the call, we had some people come on early and we were talking about travel. Well, what if I were to tell you that there's ways and there's campaigns right now that our teams are launching to help people qualify for all paid incentive trips, right? We actually got one that's coming up that our organization is personally sponsoring to get everybody that is connected with us to go to Punta Cana, right? If Just curious, how many people on this call right now have you ever heard of Punta Cana? Drop me in the comments or drop Punta Cana in the comments. If you haven't, that's okay too, because when I first heard that, I didn't even know that that was a legitimate place because it's the first time I heard about it. But I looked at photos. I actually did some research on it, and it is beautiful. It's beautiful. But we actually help people. We train and we coach people on how to qualify for these types of things. Again, we talk about lifestyle too. So with that, that officially concludes my portion. I'm actually going to pass this back over to our host, but I just want to thank everybody again for bearing with me on going through all of that information. And Dory, passing it back over to you.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Peter. And thank you, every single person on this call for joining and listening in to all of us today. You have no idea how happy and appreciative I am for each and every one of you joining in. I truly, truly appreciate, spending an hour or so with us and listening to us talk and everything. But the biggest takeaway I kind of want to just have everybody take is, learn something from this, whether it's you want to be a customer or you want to learn more about the products, or if you want to be, a brand partner like one of us, that's great. But don't forget your why on why you want to do it. Don't just chime in thinking that you are doing this solely only for you, because you're not. You're doing it for yourself and for everybody else, you may have in your life. So that's kind of my biggest takeaway for you folks. And, if you guys have any questions, we'll stick around after the finishing of this Zoom call. But if you have to go, it's okay. I appreciate, again, every single one of you coming on. But other than that, if you guys have no questions, that is officially the end of our event. So thank you.
Thanks everybody for coming on. And if you are, again, feel free to just hang around. We'll wait about a minute or so. And we'll just assume that everybody that is left on here has a question that they'd like to ask.
But feel free to go if you guys need to go.
Awesome. Okay, so Dory, why don't we do this? First off, excited to have everybody here. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, please feel free to, if you look at the bottom of your Zoom screens, if you're able to, if you go under React, there's a raise hand feature. Feel free to press that, and then we'll unmute you and call you up, and then you'll be able to unmute and ask your question. Or if you don't feel comfortable unmuting, you can also drop it in the chats as well too. Nice.
Will there be a replay?
There may be a replay. Yes, we did record this. So if you would like the replay, please get back to the person that invited you onto the call, and we will go ahead and connect you to the replay. Of course. Any other questions? Anything at all that we can help answer? Or you guys just love
Even
this
if
so
you
much?
guys want to
Wanna hang
ask
out?
us a personal question.
Adela, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, I do. Excuse the noise in the background. I'm cooking dinner. Thank you so much for including us. It was an awesome, awesome job. And did you say there's going to be replay where we can listen to this like over and
Yes.
over again?
Yes,
Yeah.
there will be a replay, and
Okay.
I'm sure Peter already messaged you about it, and he'll connect you to it.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Peter.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everybody. Thank you.
So I see in the
So-
comments, where do we buy the drops? Yeah, Dory, you
Yes.
want to take that one?
Yeah. So Marie, we can talk after this. I'll link you to the website if you are interested. But yeah, don't worry about it. I'll send you that information if you are interested in buying the drops.
Awesome. All right. Gonna make one more pass through. Any questions? And again, if you do have questions that you think of after this, feel free to get back to the person that invited you on, and they'll be able to help address those questions for you. Yeah. But okay. Well, with that being said, just want to again thank everybody for coming on. And Dory, thank you so much for putting this event on and hosting and bringing us all together. Yeah, that this was special. Also too, we are going to have actually, we're going to have a sequence of events that are coming up. So this is kind of like just the beginning phase of what we're about to bring, especially for Hawaii. So I'll open it up to the team. Who would like to chime in on giving some more details on that? Maybe
I
Angela,
do.
you want to chime in, or
Let's
Peter?
go for Angela. Let's go.
Roger that. So we are actually gonna have Sister Dory doing a live event coming March 11th. So you guys are gonna have a chance to actually meet her in person if you haven't already done so. Maybe you might just meet us in person as we get closer and closer. So whoever invited you folks over to our to our virtual event today, if you folks have family and friends that are interested in this information, but as we like to do, we like to meet in person, go ahead and get back to Dory, Peter, or Sean, or myself, whoever invited you guys, to find out more information about location and what else we're doing. If you folks have family members who are also here on Oahu, I'll be having one March 8th. Same thing, we'll shoot you a flyer, QR code, however you folks want to get that invite, let us know. Seats are limited to each event, so please do let us know ASCP when you folks want to go ahead and sign up with us. Again, this is a free event, live event to meet us in person. And yeah, I mean, team, do you guys have anything else to add with that?
Nope. I think we're good.
Nope. I
Just
think we'll all be there. Yeah, right? For the March 8th event. So if you guys have friends, family, anyone interested, just again, shoot us a text, call, whatever, and we can send you the link for that.
great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for everybody being here, and have a great rest of your weekend. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.